Welcome to Business Digest Radio, Southern Colorado's source for business, policy, economics, workforce, and innovation. Brought to you by Colorado Media Group. Here's your host, Dirk Hobbs.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business Digest Radio. I am your host, Dirk Hobbs, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Hope you're doing well and having a great business week here in Southern Colorado. Lots going on in the region. As you know, we just released a new edition of the Business Digest online. You can go to socodigest.com and pick up your copy. We are talking still more about data centers. Great interview with Jason Green, and also another conversation with utilities about how much power this particular program is going to be drawn down on. So get both sides of the picture. As you know, we had a little rumble in the community with some folks that were flown in to kind of disrupt the town hall that was scheduled. But moving on from that, we've got some great information, and we'll have continuing coverage of this data center that's coming into Southern Colorado, specifically Colorado Springs, and what that's going to do to the region in terms of support, drawing new businesses to the region. But also, we're very conscientious of the fact that people want to know, what is the consumption rate going to be in terms of water and the power drawdown and everything else? And what's it going to do to my utility bill as a business and as a homeowner? So all those are legit concerns and comments and questions. So we'll cover that on a regular basis, but definitely check out this article. It's very cogent. It's very on the level. Good coverage with Jason Green, who is the COO out of Radian, and great company. And they're going to invest a lot of time, energy, and resource into this community. And it's really a plus sign for our economic ecosystem here. Also, big news, the government announced, or Congressman Jeff Crank came into town along with John and Rita Claymeyer and a handful of other representatives from the community to talk about the new installation that's going out in Schriever. So a new PAE facility is going out into, it's going to buttress the Schriever Air Force Base there, and that will draw in probably close to 2,500 civilian jobs into the community. And then the ancillary effect of that is probably upwards of 5,700 new jobs that will deploy in the community. And there's other programs kind of in the wings that are circling to see how this program goes. But all indications are this is a real shot in the arm for El Paso County and all of Southern Colorado. So that ecosystem of aerospace and defense, cybersecurity is it's very magnetic here. And people are really starting to see that the workforce is here, the infrastructure's here. Of course, add in the data center into that conversation. And it's a great place to create sustainability for those types of operations for both the primes as well as the contractors who are serving those primes, and ultimately for our national security. So good stuff. Lots going on here. Another announcement, Jeff Shaw from PEDCO recently resigned from the Pueblo Economic Development Corporation. He is going elsewhere, but he served the organization very, very well for a number of years, and we wish Jeff well. So lots of news coverage in the digest. Pick it up at socodigest.com. Also, we just released another copy of North, a great story on Mount Carmel. This is the project that Phil Long Ford, general manager and owner, former, Jay Cimino, initiated with Bob McLaughlin here in town. Great service organization to our veterans. Great story. They're celebrating their anniversary this year. I believe it's their 10th. And also the U.S. Taekwondo Center is celebrating their 40th anniversary, serving the region for a very long time. And that is a fabulous story. So, all right, well, let's get to work here. Today, we're talking about all things air travel, airport, what it means to have the Colorado Springs Airport here in El Paso County, its catchment area, how it functions as an economic development engine, and how this tool is one of the best resources we have and barometers of our economic health in the region. So with me is the Director of Aviation, Alex Kovacs. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
I'm glad you're
Great
here.
to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Well, what I like to do, Alex, is I like to orient our listeners because not everybody's met the aviation director of Colorado Springs Airport, although they should.
Are you sure about that?
Well, maybe. You're pretty famous and hard to miss. But
hard to miss.
Hard to miss.
Not famous.
But yeah, give us a little background on you and how you end up here in Colorado Springs.
Sounds good. Let's talk about me for a little bit then.
Just a minute. Yeah.
And then we're going to get into the airport business.
Absolutely.
So, again, Alex Kovacs, I'm the director of aviation for the Colorado Springs Airport. I moved to Colorado Springs in September of 2024 from Reno, Nevada. I served at the Reno airport since 2008, so between 2008 and 2024. The original goal was to get into the aviation industry for a very short period of time, because you may remember there was some interesting things going on in the economy in 2008.
That's correct.
I was in gaming prior to that.
Okay.
And let's just say the writing was on the wall,
yeah,
and on all the financial documents at that point that there's going to be some struggle for the gaming industry around 2008. And that's the reason I made the switch. Had a young daughter and young family at the time, and it was the right thing to do.
Very good.
And then here I am, 18 years later. It's a fantastic industry. Definitely, I did not expect to be in it for the long run, but I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm very happy in Colorado Springs.
Very good. What was the overlap timing with you and Greg Phillips, your predecessor here?
So again, I started in September of 2024. Greg is the person that convinced me to move to Colorado Springs.
Excellent.
And what I said to him is, he convinced me to move here. Then he abandoned me in, I think it was January of 2025.
Okay. Yeah, he went to Philadelphia.
He did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Well, we're glad he got you out here. And now your background is a lot in finance, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I was doing prior to gaming also. I was doing accounting and financial analysis and those kind of things prior to joining the Reno airport. And then at the Reno airport, I went through a number of different roles. And when I left as the director of finance at that point. My responsibilities were around accounting, budget, finance, risk management, and those kind of things. And then when I moved to Colorado Springs, it was for the role of assistant director. And in my new role here, at that point, I took on finance, design and construction, properties. Properties is a department that deals with all the contracts that are being done at the airport.
Got it.
And the intent was to then also take on the IT function.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's quite a load. Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of work too.
And that was the perspective
Yeah.
that this was a great opportunity at that time. And that's the reason.
Very good. So what do you think of Southern Colorado?
I love it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities both to the way I grew up, the mountainous regions, a lot of similarities to Reno, including the size of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And then, being here for almost 2 years now, it's a fantastic place to live.
Does it feel like home yet too?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
That's good stuff. Well, we're glad you're here. And so explain in summary what the relationship is with Colorado Springs Airport and the city of Colorado Springs, how that works.
Great question. So if you think about the airport industry overall, there's different ways of airports being organized, or whether they belong to a state or a city or a county, or there are some airport authorities out there also.
Okay.
Our way of organizing here in Colorado Springs is we are part of the city of Colorado Springs. We're an enterprise of the Colorado Springs, the city, again. We function off of rates and charges that we charge everybody that uses the facility. So airlines, concessionaires, we receive rental fees and concession fees and all of those kind of things. We receive absolutely no tax revenue from the city or anybody else.
I bet a lot of folks didn't know that.
That's typical,
Yeah.
right? Because most people that use the airport, and we're very happy that people use the airport, don't think about that. And I'm not suggesting that they should. But I think it's good information to know that we don't rely on any kind of local taxes we don't receive any.
Very
Just
good.
put it that way.
Yeah. So you're an independent organization in that regard, in the sense that you are drawing your sustainability from other fees and resources that you draw from concessions and other things like that.
From a financing perspective, absolutely, especially when it comes to operating and maintenance costs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're talking about major capital projects, if we're talking about maintaining runways and taxiways and so on and so forth, we do receive some grants from the federal government, and those are tremendously useful for us.
I bet.
Without those, it would be very difficult for any airport in this country to function efficiently, effectively, and of course, safely.
Right. Now, when you say federal government, are we speaking specifically of the FAA?
We are talking about the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Well, when we come back, we're going to do a deep dive in how an airport is really a barometer for the regional economy, number one. Number two, it is an economic development engine. It is one of the things that site selectors and other businesses look at when they decide to plant their flag anywhere in southern Colorado. So you could be in South Douglas County, you could be in Colorado Springs, you could be in Pueblo, or for that matter, Trinidad and Kansas City. Doesn't matter. They're all looking at the airport as one of the tight resources that they need. So when we come back, we're going to do a deeper dive with Alex, and he's going to explain to us how that works and why utilization of Colorado Springs Airport is so important to sustainability and the places we want to go, not just as businesses, but also as consumers. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Leonard Skinnard. Live, Saturday, September 19th, Ford Amphitheater. With special guest 38 Special. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at leonardskinnard.com. Leonard Skinnard, live. Produced by AEG Presents.
Picnic Basket Catering Collective. Call or find us online.
Pain doesn't just announce itself, it changes how you move. And when movement changes, everything else follows. That's when experience and coordination matters most. Dr. Craig Yeager, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon here at Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group. Board-certified, fellowship-trained specialists treat the full orthopedic picture from head to toe. With our walk-in express care, advanced MRI and CT imaging, and physical therapy at 2 full-service locations, your care stays connected. Schedule today. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, because movement isn't optional, it's personal.
All right, we are back here, second quarter Business Digest Radio. I'm your host, Dirk Hobbs, and hey, I want to give a special shout out to some of our sponsors who help bring us this content and the opportunity to speak to a lot of community leaders who are driving our region forward. So we've had great guests on the program. If you haven't seen us, you can find us on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on our website at socodigest.com. Each week, we put up a new interview and new insights into the infrastructure that makes our economy hum down here in Southern Colorado. So glad you're with us. Spend a little time getting to know Alex Kovacs, who is the Aviation Director, Colorado Springs Airport. That's fancy language for CEO, basically, of the Colorado Springs Airport. So glad you're with us, Alex. Thanks for coming.
It's good to be here.
I know you're a busy guy, so this time really matters, and we appreciate you coming out here.
I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. So we got to know you a little bit. Now I want to really pivot and dive into kind of the function and the economics of any regional airport, but certainly any airport in general. But I definitely want to focus on why this particular one attracted your attention and how it functions in the region as an economic development tool. So give us an executive summary of when you walked on the job in 2024, what did you observe as in terms of what Colorado Springs Airport was and what it's capable of?
Great question. And let me take you back prior to me walking onto the job.
Okay.
Right. And let's talk about our favorite airport, right? The Colorado Springs Airport.
That's right.
And my perception of the Colorado Springs Airport, as I was looking at it from the outside in, was opportunity.
Okay.
Again, I come from a community in a very similar size. If we think about Reno, double the traffic. I learned about the business park at that point, the peak innovation park that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking at comparing what kind of developments do we have in Colorado Springs compared to the community that I was coming from. So overall, if I were to sort of look at it in one word from a business aspect of what attracted me to Colorado Springs was opportunity, but not necessarily opportunity for me as a person, but also what could be done at the Colorado Springs Airport.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned Colorado Springs Airport as an economic engine, and I 100% agree with you.
Okay.
And not only I agree with you, but our friends at Division of Aeronautics for CDOT also agree with both of us, because every couple of years they do a study, and based on the last study released in 2025, which was based on 2023 economic data, the annual economic impact of the airport was $5.2 billion.
That's
and
impressive.
That's billion with a B.
Okay.
Yes. And it is impressive. But airports throughout the country, they all are economic engines for those particular communities. And from my perspective, of course, I could be a little biased, but I believe that it's very important for the community to keep the airport going and for the airport to listen to the community's needs and find a way to meet those needs, both from the perspective of air traffic, the level of service, amenities, customer service, and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about how much somebody spends, one of the visitors or one of the passengers, if we were to take that $5.2 billion and drill down all the way to the passenger level, which this is, again, based on that study. So there's likely a lot more that goes into it than just passengers. However, just drilling down to the passenger level, it's around $750 per passenger.
Per traveler.
Per traveler.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay, that is impressive. So sustainability is really a function of several things. Okay, one of them is utilization. And I know Colorado Springs Airport and other airports this size are always trying to draw from major metropolitan or international airports. This catchment area, how would you describe it geographically? What is our catchment area for Colorado Springs?
Our catchment area currently has about 1.2 million people in it.
That's plenty of travelers.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And our goal is to keep those folks flying out of the Colorado Springs Airport.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about how many passengers we serve annually, and I'm going to just talk about enplanements or one-way passengers.
Okay.
That is right around 1.2.5 million.
So about one flight
passengers.
person. Yeah.
Correct. Here's the interesting part. Now we live in the era of data, right? And we have access to all kinds of data, and you have the ability to slice it, dice it, and so on and so forth. Based on data, we have now a way to understand where do people fly from our catchment area and what airport, more importantly, do they use. And what we have noticed is that 50-60% of our catchment area people fly out of likely Denver Airport.
Sure.
We don't have a hate relationship, of course, with the Denver Airport.
Yeah.
I think that
very collegial, in fact.
Absolutely. I think overall, if you think about how fortunate Southern Colorado is by having two airports, two commercial airports, so people have options. Now, of course, from our perspective in Colorado Springs, our goal is to keep the people that live here flying out of the Colorado Springs Airport. But it's not enough to just talk about it for me.
Mm-hmm.
What it comes down to the airport's role is go and find the nonstop flights, provide those amenities, provide the customer service, and listen again to what the customer demand is.
And that's an ongoing process, and it does change.
100%. It is an ongoing process, and we have a dedicated team that's strictly focusing on air service, both keeping the existing air service and then also attracting new nonstop flights to Colorado Springs.
Got it.
To give you a sense, currently we have 15 nonstop flights to 12 different cities in the U.S.
Okay.
I was having a conversation a couple of days ago, and she asked me, how do we choose what airlines do we do business with? Well, if any airlines are watching this, we do business with all airlines.
There you go.
Welcome you to Colorado Springs.
Good answer.
we don't select airlines.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a big competition in the country, and this is not new. This has been going on for a very long time. All cities that are about our size, they're all competing for limited resources.
Absolutely.
And when I say limited resources, I'm talking people or staffing for airlines because they have limited crews.
Correct.
And we're talking about aircraft, which is also limited. And the part that we have to remember, and this is very important from my perspective, we have to remember that all the businesses that operate at the airport are for-profit businesses. Right. And that's maybe sometimes we don't think about that, right? An airline, if it's not profitable, is going to end up going somewhere else.
That's correct.
Concessionaires, if they're not making money, they're going to likely move their shop somewhere else.
Right.
So it's all interconnected. And the success of the airport depends on all of the elements, and especially on the community support for the airport by essentially using the flights that we have.
Absolutely. And the next level is really gateway into an airport that does have more direct flights. So starting at Colorado Springs, moving yourself to Denver, and then going and getting to where you need. Oftentimes, especially if you're maybe from Douglas County or the Eastern Plains or Southeast Colorado, anywhere, that 2 a.m. drive to Denver is not as appealing perhaps as maybe a 6 a.m. drive up to Colorado Springs. And then it's very easy from there on in to get to your flight, get up to Denver, and then get to where you need to go. How do you guys kind of table that discussion when you're talking to businesses and other people about, well, we need to get to Chicago a lot, okay, and sometimes on a whim. You can start here in Colorado Springs and get yourself to Chicago.
Well, travel easy is our new slogan.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, we're focusing on making your travel experience as seamless and easy and stress-free as we possibly can in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, and I'm going to just pick on Chicago because we actually have 3 different airlines that fly into Chicago. So that's a great story.
Perfect.
One of the challenges that we have, and one of the criticisms that we receive at the Colorado Springs Airport is, well, why do I want to fly to Denver and then connect from there?
Okay.
Our goal, again, is, of course, to keep adding nonstop flights. But to your point about the drive,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about the drive, you're talking about the experience that you're going to have. You have to leave your home early.
Mm-hmm.
You have to park your car, depending on how much you're willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
It may be
maybe
closer
stay overnight
or more distant from the airport.
Yep.
A quick plug when it comes to parking. Colorado Springs long-term parking is $8 a day.
That's
Short-term
awesome.
parking is $15 a day.
That's pretty
and
good.
We're exploring cover parking at this point.
Very good.
Right. But it comes down to the offers that we have and the value that we're able to provide our traveling public.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're actually focusing on. So a multi-pronged approach. One, continue adding more flights. And then second, provide the value when it comes to parking, amenities, level of customer service. You're going through the TSA line in under 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have restaurants, and we're going to have more restaurants. We're going through that terminal improvement program right now, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
We are.
But overall, we're trying to bring all of that together to give you the value and the customer experience that you're expecting to receive from Colorado Springs Airport.
Absolutely.
Which likely you will not receive from a humongous airport. And I don't want to pick on names because I think
they're big utilities. Yeah,
they are, and they're intended to get people in and out, right? And it has its purpose, and I think it's a wonderful resource that we have, again, overall in the community. Our goal is just to provide you a little bit more, or maybe quite a bit more.
You know, I like the way you tabled that, Alex, because when you do use DIA, it is very transactional. It is very utilitarian, right? It is a function of getting from A to B, and you are nose down the whole time. right? Just trying to get from parking to airport to plane. What I've experienced, and it's changed our whole dynamic just personally as a family, utilization of Colorado Springs Airport. I mean, it really is more of a customer service engagement because of the amenities, because of the aesthetic upgrades that have happened throughout the last 2 years. If you haven't been out to COS in a minute, take a look at some of the pictures we're going to be throwing up on the screen here, because it is absolutely gorgeous. Complete renovation of the concourse. It's beautiful. It feels right. There's some amenities that are familiar to you if you've been in other airport centers around the United States. And there's some really unique things that when you come into Colorado Springs, you're experiencing something that is specific to this region that you're not going to find in Reno or Raleigh-Durham or anywhere else in the United States. They're very uniquely Colorado. So when we come back, I want to speak to the business community, more specifically about utilization of the Colorado Springs Airport, what it could mean for your business, and also for those site selectors out there who are looking to understand this region and how fluid and flush the Colorado Springs Airport can do for your business. Stick around.
Leonard Skinnard. Live. Saturday, September 19th, Ford Amphitheater. With special guest 38 Special. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at leonardskinnard.com. Leonard Skinnard. Live. Produced by AEG Presents.
Picnic Basket Catering Collective. Call or find us online.
Pain doesn't just announce itself, it changes how you move. And when movement changes, everything else follows. That's when experience and coordination matters most. Dr. Craig Yeager, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon here at Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group. Board-certified, fellowship-trained specialists treat the full orthopedic picture from head to toe. With our walk-in express care, advanced MRI and CT imaging, and physical therapy at 2 full-service locations, your care stays connected. Schedule today. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, because movement isn't optional, it's personal.
All right, welcome back to the third quarter here, Business Digest Radio. I am your host, Eric Hobbs. Glad you're with us. We're halfway through the program here with Alex Kovacs, Aviation Director at Colorado Springs Airport, and we are understanding a little better the tool that businesses have here in the Colorado Springs Airport. This is an actual business tool as well as an economic development engine for the region. And I think it's important we understand that, because once that really becomes your paradigm, you start to understand utilization of the airport as being key to the sustainability and success of the airport itself, but also as a convenience for you as a consumer. So think about this. When you use the gates that are available to you now, they tend to stick around. When you don't, or when we don't, as a consumer base, the airlines have to make very difficult decisions to pull out of those airports because there's just not enough there. They are businesses. They are for-profit businesses. And so they have to make decisions based on the economics of the equation. So keep that in mind as we expand the gates here in Southern Colorado. We say we want to go to different places around the United States. All of us do, of course. And getting that direct flight is a function of utilization on our part. So that's on us. And we have to, as businesses, when you have corporate gatherings in other parts of the country, start to explore with Colorado Springs Airport first, and then look north as necessary. But at least start with the resource that we've been given. And it is a tremendous resource. It is absolutely gorgeous out there. They've spent millions of dollars renovating and creating a concourse that is literally world class. They have done an extremely good job of focusing on the aesthetic and how to present the airport to new visitors as well as those of us that utilize it on a regular basis. So congratulations on this most recent upgrade. You guys have done a tremendous job out there.
The team has done a fantastic job, and I have to do a quick plug for our partner or our general contractor that has led that whole process, which is non-construction.
Wonderful. They did a great job.
Tyson's team has done a fantastic job.
Indeed, they have.
And of course, the airport team, we can not forget about the airport team, which
they
every time
operate
I
it.
think about them, it makes me smile, and I take that role very, very seriously.
Yeah, you do have a great team out there, Alex, and they are very friendly. I mean, getting through TSA is a pretty short process. Now, contrast that to Denver or LAX or any of the other places around the United States. It is a smooth, very smooth process. And even if you're pulled aside and they do an extra screen on you, I mean, you're still through the gate in lightning speed. So, and they're wonderful people to deal with. I mean, from start to finish, it really is a great experience. So that reflects obviously on leadership, but also what you're saying, this is the experience we're going to bring to our passengers.
Absolutely. We're looking to provide excellent customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And also internally, that is the culture of excellence that we're working on. So we're focusing again on making travel easy, making it a very accessible airport. We have to think about who our audience is. We have to think about our community with a lot of military, a lot of veterans, and again, accessibility with the Olympic Committee being here and training center and so on and so forth. It's very important for us to keep the community in mind as we're talking about any kind of capital project or new development at the airport. From my perspective, that's the way to look at it.
And another piece is, you know, when big corporations or events like the Space Symposium come into town, I mean, there's heavy utilization around Colorado Springs Airport and that's their first impression of this region, this community.
That's a great point. And we were very fortunate and very honored to be the airport of choice for that conference. Mm-hmm. And we welcome people from all over the world. And it's a wonderful event. I try to go out there and spend a couple of days and see everything that's going on in that industry, which is just magnificent.
Absolutely.
To see everything that's going on.
Yeah, yes. It is fun to watch. And they brought over 14,000 visitors from around the world, and they ended up here through your gates, and they got a peek at Southern Colorado like few others have. So, well, talk to the business community now, Alex. So you're talking to site selectors, you're talking to major employers, and you're also talking to those that are here, as well as those that are thinking about this region as a potential expansion project or maybe even a primary site. What are some of the things that your conversations look like when you're dealing with those employers for the first time? What are you guys unpacking and presenting to them as the benefit of Colorado Springs?
Well, the Colorado Springs Airport, for all of us, whether it's the local community who do leisure travel or whether it's the business traveler, it is a gateway to the Pikes Peak region. Mm-hmm. And the business community is very, very important for the airport, and it's very important to the overall airline industry, because if you think about business travelers, all airlines value the business traveler, because typically you don't buy your ticket 6 months in advance for business travel. Right. And typically you end up paying a little bit more than when you're traveling for leisure.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's a lot of value, again, for the business traveler out there. When we have those conversations, the conversations that we're looking to have is, on one hand, what kind of destinations are they looking for? Mm-hmm. And how do we bring that to the Colorado Springs Airport? On the flip side, we go out there to local businesses primarily because we know that they're here and we are building those business relationships, is finding a way to support attracting new service to the Colorado Springs Airport. So overall, again, we're the gateway for the region. So any site selectors, any prospective employees that would fly into the Colorado Springs Airport, we welcome them. Again, our goal is to attract new business, both from the airlines, and then also think about Peak Innovation Business Park.
Right.
And all the development that is happening there.
Quite a bit right now.
There's quite a bit going on.
Yeah.
Yes. And being right next to the airport, being right there by military
The installation.
the
Yep.
installation,
Yep.
it's the location is very, very important.
So proximity is a
Proximity is important.
Yep.
Access to utilities is very important. So those are typically the conversations that we're having with the business community. But again, we rely on the business community to make any of our existing flights successful. And when we meet with airlines, that's a conversation that is worth having.
Yeah.
And letters of support that we could receive from the business community. And also, again, we need to have awareness of where they would like to fly.
Yeah. And we're going to put up some of the nonstop gates that are at Colorado Springs on your screen. So take a look at those. And as we develop new conversations around different communities around the United States that we want to connect to, how are you guys making those decisions, Alex? I mean, they're not easy. They're not just your decision. They're the airlines. They're that community on the other side of the gate. How does that all work? And how can we better as a region support that?
I wish it was my decision.
Yeah,
if it was
right.
my decision, we had a lot more flights than what we have today. But it's a complex industry.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
I'm learning that.
It comes down to making money. Again, sorry for saying it, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
And we have to make that business case. The way we look at this, and again, we have a dedicated air service team at the airport that focuses on this. We start with the data. We now have information on how many people are traveling in and out of Colorado Springs to what destination. And I'm going to give you an example. If we're talking about the LA Basin as an example, we have, based on data, over 400 people traveling back and forth every single day from our overall catchment area.
That 1.2 or so million. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if we're thinking about how do we sell that to an airline? And when I first joined the community here, in my mind, it was a no-brainer. I'm looking at 400 or 500 people going back and forth every single day.
So the math penciled.
The math penciled.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge. We can't forget that we have another commercial airport up the street from us.
All right.
And likely the majority, or 70+% of those folks traveling to the LA Basin are currently using the Denver International Airport.
Interesting. Okay.
I've had some conversations with some airlines, and here's one of the answers that I received, or maybe the question that I received from them that I found absolutely fascinating. What am I trying to fix as an airline? And I think that's the key for us to understand, because if those folks are already traveling out of the Denver airport, what's in it for the airline?
Mm-hmm.
I would say ease of flight. We're a much cheaper airport. One of the metrics, or maybe the main metric that airports use to get a sense of how expensive it is for a commercial airline to operate out of an airport, is something called cost per enplaned passenger.
All right.
And that's essentially how much does it cost for an airline to move one passenger one way.
Got it.
If we're thinking about Colorado Springs, I'm happy to report that we're looking at around $6 per enplaned passenger.
Okay.
If you're looking at Denver and you're looking at many other airports, they're likely north of $20 per enplaned passenger.
Okay.
Now, of course, that's easy for me to say because currently we don't have any public debt.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a fairly efficient airport. We're going to become more and more efficient. That's one of our goals. But cost for an airline to operate in and out of an airport is important, right? And they look at that, and there's, in the world of fuel prices and cost for people and cost for equipment, there's only so many different areas that you actually can impact.
True.
With cost reductions.
Yep.
And airport cost is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you can get somewhat of a beating when you have conversations with some of the airlines during budget process. And we have a very transparent budget process here in Colorado Springs. We meet with the airlines a number of times a year. What I should have mentioned earlier is we have 5 commercial airlines that are operating
That's right.
in and out of our airport. 4 of those we refer to as signatory airlines. And what that means is that they sign a long-term 5+ year contract where they also make a commitment to the local community to be here and operate from here. We were talking earlier about, well, how does an airline make a decision to grow service in and out of a market? Well, they have to have the existing routes successful.
Yep.
And that's one of the challenges that we have. We all have a big appetite. We all want to go to different places based on family or business or so on and so forth. But the part that we have to remember is we have to find a way to make the current routes, current air service successful for the airlines. And at that point, it's much easier for us to go to them and have a conversation of maybe adding frequency. That's another thing that is, I think, is very important. It's not always going to be just new service, but growing one market. I mentioned Chicago. Now we have multiple flights going in and out of Chicago. The reason that's so good and very important for us is because, and for the community actually, is because it's fostering competition. One of the downsides of maybe flying in and out of Colorado Springs Airport, or one of the criticisms that I have heard, was ticket prices. Typically, many cases, you're going to pay more to fly out of Colorado Springs Airport than Denver, as an example. Having more competition in any one city or one route, it's only going to be beneficial for that. But the market has to have a way of supporting it.
Got it.
So I can't say enough. Use it or lose it.
Absolutely.
It's very, very important.
And I'll tell you, folks, when you talk about a slightly higher ticket price occasionally, that's actually not always the case. I've actually just recently took a flight over to Charleston, South Carolina, and found myself there for almost half of what I would have paid out of DIA. Now, that's an exception to the rule, but it does happen. But even if you're going to pay a little bit more, think about the time to DIA, the stress. Are you going to hit a traffic jam or weather? Might you have to stay overnight up there just to catch an early flight? There's a lot of variables, and of course, parking and the ability to kind of go into your vacation or into your travels a little more relaxed, not stressed out. That is invaluable. So when we come back, we're going to finalize our discussion with Alex Kovacs, who is the aviation director at Colorado Springs Airport. This is great insight, Alex, and I appreciate people being able to spend a little time with you, understand the math and the mechanics that you're working with over there, so that when you guys are successful in building those relationships with airlines, our role as a consumer base is to support those gates as best we can. Back in a moment.
Leonard Skinnerd. Live. Saturday, September 19th, Ford Amphitheater. With special guest 38 Special. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at leonardskinnerd.com. Leonard Skinnerd. Live. Produced by AEG Presents.
The Picnic Basket Catering Collective. Call or find us online.
Pain doesn't just announce itself, it changes how you move. And when movement changes, everything else follows. That's when experience and coordination matters most. Dr. Craig Yeager, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon here at Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, board-certified, fellowship-trained specialists treat the full orthopedic picture from head to toe. With our walk-in express care, advanced MRI and CT imaging, and physical therapy at 2 full-service locations, your care stays connected. Schedule today. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, because movement isn't optional, it's personal.
All right, we're back here, fourth quarter with Business Digest Radio. I am your host, Dirk Hobbs. Welcome to an afternoon of business conversation with Alex Kovacs, Aviation Director at the Colorado Springs Airport. It's a pleasure to have him because we're getting a little bit of insight into how an airport actually works, how it sustains itself, how it grows its gates, how gates shrink, and why. And our role as a business community, as well as a traveling public community, are partially responsible for the sustainability of those gates. We got to utilize our airport. That's just all there is to it. And the more we use it, more expansive and committed it is to other parts, getting us to and from other parts of the United States or the world for that matter. But we're going to cover a lot of real estate here with Alex in this fourth quarter. So business planners and business leaders lean in a little bit, as well as the traveling public. We don't want to leave anybody out, but a lot of capital improvements have gone into this particular airport in the last 24 months, Alex. Tremendous improvements. Explain those in summary and kind of where you're headed as far as your bigger plan.
Good question, and thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
ElevateCOS is the name of the capital program. That's what we decided to name it. And I'm going to take you back to prior to ElevateCOS a little bit and talk about the 20-year master plan. So about 4 years ago, the Colorado Springs Airport finalized the 20-year master plan. And the 20-year master plan called for doubling the gates, more development, both on the aviation and non-aviation side. The overall price tag estimate at that point was somewhere around $1.2 billion. If you think about an airport of our size that has 12 gates in the main terminal building, and we have 1.2 million in-plane passengers, as you can imagine, taking on that kind of debt, because that's where the cost would have been paid for,
right,
is not a realistic expectation. So then, rightfully so, the team made the decision to implement the ElevateCOS program, which essentially redid all of the so-called hold room areas, which are the areas where you wait to board your plane. We're redoing all of the concession space. The food court is going to get redone next year, and we're very, very excited for that because we're bringing some of the local or local-ish sort of concepts in there. We're looking at a concept with Brother Luck.
That's right.
And Smashburger and Einstein Brothers for coffee and bagels. We've already installed, or they installed, I should say, Colorado Crafts. They're close to the southwest gates.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of development that has been done over the last couple of years. We've installed new windows. The building is more accessible. Now we have automated exit gates. We installed common use equipment, and that's very, very important because if you think about the traditional airport business, you would have one airline occupying one gate. But in today's world, where again, we're all competing for limited resources with the airlines, airports also have limited resources when it comes to the number of gates. And you've seen, if you've done any investments in your home or any recent projects, you've seen how expensive everything is.
Yes.
So it's important for us to utilize the existing gates as efficiently as we possibly can. And by installing this common use equipment, it gives us the ability to accommodate more airlines on the same gate, meaning you come in, you enter your credentials, and all of a sudden your logo and all of your flight information pops up. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier to do it that way than to just have a dedicated gate for each one of the airlines, or actually typically airlines rent more than just one gate. Mm-hmm. Right? So being efficient from that perspective is very important. Sustainability, when you think about energy efficiency and you're looking at water usage and electricity and heating and cooling, we've made a lot of changes in that area also. Now we have electrochromic windows, which adjust based on the ambient light. It's important for being efficient, but it's also important for the experience of the traveling public that are inside the building, and then quite frankly also for all of the employees that work in those buildings. I had a conversation with one of the airline agents at one of the gates, and she was very grateful that all the sun and all the glare with all those windows in the terminal building has changed. So it's a very different experience.
Absolutely.
At this point.
For the employees.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, when I've gone out there, I mean, the signage is elevated, the aesthetic in general, just the wall treatments, window treatments, floor treatments, everything is upgraded. And it really is smooth and easy to get in and out of there. And I saw for the first time those automated exit gates.
Yes.
First time.
And you see that nowadays, you see that at most airports. The reason those came about a number of years ago at different airports is because, as you know, you would normally see a TSA agent that was stationed there watching in and out. And most likely some point in the near future, funding for those TSA agents, again, specifically just the exit gate, is likely going to go away. So, and it's easier and it's more efficient at this point to have those automated exit gates. They work fine. We haven't had any issues or concerns at this point with any of that. We've redone the ramp. The pitch of that ramp was maybe a little bit steep. So, especially for a community like ours, I think that's very important. So there's, to your point, there's a lot of work that has been done, including restrooms and all the areas, post-security especially, have been touched. And in addition to what the airport has done, I mentioned the food court, which is in work right now, and that should be done at some point at the end of next summer. Okay. And we're really, really looking forward to that. They're going to have a wonderful bar with that great view. So I know it's going to turn out to be a great project. In addition to that, we have all the commercial or retail space. That's right. All of that has been redone, both pre-security and post-security. That's in partnership with Hudson, the Hudson Group. So they've done a fantastic job, and they're nationally operating at many other airports. And recently, or last year, we introduced Global Lounge Network. So now we actually have a proper lounge that most likely many people have it as one of the benefits with their existing credit card company.
That's correct, yeah.
So that's something that a lot of people are excited about.
And you've got a touchless area where people can go in and purchase a soda or something like that.
Yes. So that's called the Nonstop Store. Okay. And it's an Amazon concept, if I remember correctly, where you, like you said, you go in, you lift something from the shelf, and cameras and the weight of the shelves, everything knows that what you picked off. Yeah. And walking out, you do not have to scan the item. All you do is you scan your credit card and you continue walking, and
off you go.
Based on that information, they're going to be able to send you a receipt. And that's how that works.
And hopefully that's right. All right. So Fly My Airport, what's that all about?
Great question. Fly My Airport. So we talked earlier about talking to the community, whether it's leisure or business community, start with the Colorado Springs Airport. And our goal is to make it easy for you, so you don't have to go to 15 different sites and try to find your flight. We've installed this widget, like a better term, on the landing page for the airport's website, and it is called Fly My Airport. You have the ability to go there with one stop and look for whatever destination you're looking for, whether it's a nonstop or one stop, or nowadays you can go to most of the country with just the one stop.
That's right.
So that's the reason we have that there.
Okay. Good tool to have. Good for business travel.
It is. And speaking of business travel, something that I should have mentioned earlier, we know and we understand that the goal for the business traveler is efficiency. People want to go in and out of the airport. They have likely an important business meeting to go to, so they want to get there as fast as they can. They prefer the nonstop flights. One of the reasons that we're working on adding more nonstop flights. And then when they come home, they want to come home after hopefully a successful business trip,
That's
right? So all of that is very important, and we understand that. We're working on adding more nonstop flights and making the ones that we have now, even the ones that are connecting through Denver, because that's one of the challenges that I have heard. People connecting through Denver are looking at delays and other challenges with that, which is not ideal. We're working with those airlines. We're working with FAA to make sure that if there's a ground stop, they give landing rights for the aircraft in the destination airport so they can take off relatively on time and not cause these major delays. We've all been there. We've all seen delays. I flew internationally last year, and the same thing happened with me. But again, I'm looking at all of these things as opportunities for improvement. And that means we're working with our partners, whether airlines or regulatory agencies as the FAA, and hopefully find a path forward on how we can make us more efficient and eliminate a lot of those delays, or, it can be frustrating for everybody, especially for business travel.
I want to put something out there and just get your 2 cents on it. So if the Colorado Springs Airport weren't the Colorado Springs Airport, what would this community look like in your estimation? It would be vastly different than what it is today. Is that an accurate assessment?
I absolutely believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think the economic health of a community is reflected by the airport and how well the airport does. And here's what I mean by that. Business travel is what it is. And if the economy is doing great, everybody's traveling.
Yep.
But also you have to think about the leisure travel. And this is a wonderful place where there's a lot of tourism that's happening.
Absolutely.
I was talking with Doug recently, and he was telling me, Doug Price recently, and he said that there's over 24 million people that visit the Pikes Peak region every single year. Now, I wish the majority of those folks would come through the airport, but the majority of that travel is actually driving.
Round trip.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the airport, when the economy is doing well, there's leisure travel going on. You have visitors to the region.
True.
We talked about potentially $750 that each of the visitors are spending in this region when they're coming in. The famous LART.
Yes, we do know LART.
that's funding
a
lot of the advertising
projects.
And great projects attracting people to the community. And it's very helpful, quite frankly, to the airport also to be able to go out there and market specific destinations, because there's limitations from the FAA as to what airport funds can be used for. And I don't want to get into all of those details, but long story short, LART funding is very helpful to us to be able to market specific destinations.
Very good. Closing thought about Colorado Springs Airport.
That's an easy and a difficult one. Fair. Because there's so much to say and not enough time to say it, right? What I would like people to remember is that we are there to serve everybody. And I'm looking at all of you, and I'm hoping that based on this conversation and Dirk's encouragement for you to start at the Colorado Springs Airport, I'm hoping that you give us a chance. If you haven't used the Colorado Springs Airport in a while, please come and visit us. We have about 130 people that are airport staff there to serve you. Something that I haven't mentioned earlier is there's about 2,000 people working at the Colorado Springs Airport that are not airport employees. Oh, no kidding. So we're all there to serve you. Yep. And we hope to see you soon.
Very good, Alex. Alex Kovacs is the aviation director at the Colorado Springs Airport, one of Southern Colorado's best and brightest assets. It's a business tool. It's an economic development tool. And their catchment area, as a quick reminder, is all of southeastern Colorado. Whether you're traveling for leisure or business, I highly recommend it. I utilize it. I put my money where my mouth is on that. And we do, even if we have to connect out of Denver, the convenience and the time savings and the stress savings is just invaluable. And it really is a great resource. The aesthetic is phenomenal. It's a beautiful place to be while you're in an airport. Be there. be comfortable, and experience some of the new services and offerings they have out there. It's tremendous. And that Brother Luck, I'm excited for that to come online. And Smashburger. Oh, Smashburger. Love it. Sorry, I'm not eliminating anybody or forgetting anybody, but those two really stuck out in my mind. Anyway, FlyCOS is the website. And again, check out Fly My Airport widget out there on there and understand how you can utilize this airport to your greatest advantage, whether you're a business planner in your business organization or whether you're planning a trip for the family. Check it out. Alex, thanks for being here, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate
I
you.
enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
And remember, FlyCOS.
FlyCOS. See you next week, folks.
You've been listening to Business Digest Radio, Colorado's source for business, workforce, and economic development news. Find us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and at socodigest.com. To be featured on the show, email info@coloradomediagroup.com.